Hi, my name is Karsta Marie. I am a mindset coach and a motivational speaker. Super passionate about disrupting narratives that keep us stuck living in fine and working with women to recreate their relationship with themselves so they get to create their definition of an epic life. And I am so excited to be here having conversations with Pearl. Thank you so much for having me.
Sunshine, good to see you again. Had to walk out to let you back in. Stuck in a storm of a relationship. Lost my fire. Oh, and I forgot about me for way too long. But it's rolled on. Now there ain't no shade around here. Once you leave the clouds, you're under. Ain't it funny how there ain't no rain? All clean. Why'd it take so long to leave you in the grip you need? Now nobody gonna steal my sunshine or turn my blue sky gray. All I know is at the end of the day, wildflowers grow when there ain't no shade.
Hello, everybody. I am so excited to have you guys here today. We are on another Conversations with Pearl episode. And today I'm excited to have another coach with me. And I've met our guest at a current class that we've been taking. And if you've been on the show and listening, you know I'm always talking about even coaches need coaches, right? We ourselves too need to improve ourselves in any kind of way and also have that accountability partner. And that's what Karsta Marie is here to share about. I'm excited to have another coach on to share things that we can empower you to make your life even more extraordinary than what you already on the path to doing. So our guest today is Karsta Marie, and she is a motivational speaker and a mindset coach. She's passionate about disrupting narratives that keep us stuck living in fine. And she's on a mission to help women deepen their relationship with themselves so they can create their own definition of the extraordinary life, instead of subscribing to what others say should make you happy. Welcome today to the show, Karsta. And I want to ask you, on a scale of 1 to 10, how are you doing today?
Ooh, on a scale from 1 to 10, I would say an 8.
And so what can we do to make that 8 even go higher?
I don't know if you can. It's cloudy and gray and cold here today, and that is the only thing bringing me down.
Oh,
I'm sitting here with my blanket on my lap and my heating pad. And
I love it.
Gray. So other than that, I'm doing wonderfully, and I'm so excited to be here.
I think I need to send you some Florida sunshine. Is that what helps you make it number 10, right?
That would help, yes.
So tell our listeners, where are you coming in from?
I am in a suburb near Minneapolis, Minnesota.
So your weather this time of the year is rainy, cold?
You know, we've had actually a pretty beautiful autumn so far. We've been really lucky. It's just, we're getting ready now for the cold to sink in, and it usually smacks us in the face. Like yesterday was really nice, and now today is cold, and I'm hearing the S word by the end of the weekend. So it's like in a matter of days, we go from fall to winter.
So for us Floridians, they laugh at us, and people like you, in these snows, they get that S word, we drop from 80 to 60 and we're like, oh, it's cold,
I know. My mom's in Scottsdale, and I get that a lot from her too.
Oh, yes, definitely. So I'm excited to have you today. And I love how, you and I are very much aligned alike with the women that we want to empower. I'm all about becoming that hero of your life. Stop letting other people live that life for you. And so you don't look back and wonder where you are in your story that you wrote of your life. Right. And so I love what you say about stop living in the I'm fine. And that's why I asked you the question, how are you doing today? Because you ask, I'm fine. So what does fine mean for you today? Right.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
So tell us about that. What led you on this path to become the coach that you are?
So a little backstory really quickly, because that's how I got here. When I was in college, I had some visions kind of around that time, like your third year in, when you're making some concrete choices about really what you're going to major in and finish up and what you're going to do with your life. And I went to I loved my college experience, but it was very cookie cutter in nature. And I had started having these visions of being this like free spirited, like international business woman. I was a Spanish major and I could picture myself like jet setting around the world and living this like super extravagant lifestyle with my, my designer clothes and all of that. And when I looked around, that's not what I saw happening with other people. And so I was like, this vision I'm having just doesn't make sense. It's weird. It's too outlandish. Let's just throw, And so I married my college sweetheart. I became a high school teacher. I got a degree in education, and I built what I call, and I say it with air quotes, but I mean, no, there are some people that this is they love this part of their life, but I built a picket fence life, and it was fine, right? There was nothing inherently wrong with it. My ex-husband and I were good friends. We built this life. We had these beautiful kids. Everything was fine. What I since have realized in looking back is how much energy and emotion it took me to keep that house of cards from crumbling around me. And when I look back, there were so many signs. Like I was hyper organized. I was super I had to be the hostess of the dinner parties, and I had to host the family functions because I was out to prove that I had created this life. And yet inside, it took everything out of me. And after a lot of years of just kind of mumbling through and, whatever, I just finally one day was like, I'm done. I'm and our marriage ended long before that for different reasons, unrelated. But I just got to a point where I was like, my teaching job had worn me out. I was tired of just always feeling in struggle. So, and I just decided, I know so many women that are still in fine, right? And like you said, we do it all the time. Like, oh, how are you? Oh, I'm fine.
Yeah. And I mean, talk about that picket fence. I just want to interrupt you for a second. Cause I share all the time that, and it's funny to talk about picket fence. So we downsized our house last year, or earlier this year. It's going to be a year in January. And we literally are living in a neighborhood that has white picket fences all over. That's our kind of like unique part about our neighborhood. And I was like, the white picket fence, there's so many women that are listening here or that I've met that they feel like, I've got that white picket fence. Like, I've built the dream that when we were little girls, this is what you're supposed to have. And this is what you're supposed to do. Right. And so I hear what you're saying about that white picket fence, because behind the white picket fence, behind the door, it doesn't always appear what it is on the outside. Right. It's just like with makeup. Like I do these pajama retreats. And so at the retreat every year, you have to, if you're a speaker, you must agree to wear no makeup and speak in your pajamas. And some women that are speakers get freaked out by that. I've had one speaker who I had that didn't come because they couldn't agree to it. I had another speaker who wore makeup, and we had to have a conversation afterwards because that wasn't the agreement, but we're in the middle of the event, right? And so I really feel like when you peel that layer of that makeup off, we see who you are, right? We see the real you. We see you can be fine today, but really, are you truly fine inside? Or is that a narrative you're telling yourself? Right. Because everybody's telling you, this is how you should live your life. This is how you should be. This is, I know I've got a few women that I'm coaching that they're staying married because, well, that's what I'm supposed to do. But if you're not happy, why live the life of fine? Right. So that's where you lead into that part with coaching, right? What you do.
Yeah, absolutely. I always like to, and for me, it all comes back down to that relationship with yourself. Right. And I had all the same stories. Like I stayed married longer than I probably should have, or that I wanted to, because not even so much that because other people told me I was supposed to. I was the one telling myself that I figured out that my biggest story was, this is what I signed on for. Therefore, I must continue to endure because this is what I signed up. You know what I mean? Like I said I was going to be married, and that comes with a certain set of not rules, but like expectations. And so I that's a commitment I made, and I need to follow through with that. And I had nobody in my world really telling me that. It was just something in me. And I didn't have a strong enough relationship with myself to say, no, you deserve better. And not necessarily better in terms of a partner, but just better. You deserve to feel better. You deserve more ease. You deserve to not, the term I use with my clients is there needs to be an equal exchange of energy in your life, right? It shouldn't cost you more energy to live your life. So
that's so powerful. I love, it shouldn't cost you more energy to live your life. Like really, it's so powerful what you just said there, because when it's taking more of your energy to be happy in your life,
right.
then you need to like rein it back in, do a self-check and say, why, right? I think it's really important, like you said, to be in tune with yourself, because it's just like with self-care, all of that comes into your self-care. If you are not in tune with yourself and you're not happy with yourself and what's happening, you can't take care of those around you. You can't engage the way you want to with those around you. And you can't have the relationship, not only with yourself, but with your loved ones. And I think it's such a powerful statement to remember. And I think a lot of that, would you agree that if you think back, it also goes back to like when we were little girls, right? When we were a child. And what do we tell ourselves when we were children? That 5 to 7 year age. I know I was talking with somebody the other day. We have a big thing that we're launching at the first of the year. And I was saying that, when I was little, my mom, she worked a part-time job, but everything was her responsibility. The house was her responsibility. Even though she worked, she still had to make sure we were fed, clothed, all that stuff. She came home. That was like the role, that she believed, because that's how she grew up. My grandmother wasn't home, didn't work. So that was the narrative that she understood to be, right? And so for me, I was like, I wanted to be my own voice, but I wanted to do my own thing. But when I look back, like right now in our group coaching, we're doing the inner child. And it's so powerful when you look back and like you're saying, what energy as a child did we feed our brain that we're carrying into our adult life, right? So yeah, it's really powerful. So what were some of the steps you took to like, as you said, you finally realized your energy wasn't lined up. You made some big changes in your life. You've gone a different way with, your marriage didn't, it ended, so what were those signs that told you I'm not fine and I need to change this?
I think I hit just this point of emotional exhaustion. I literally had like zero left to give anybody. And yet I was still giving 110%. And I know a lot of women listening can identify with that. This hit a different level for me. And I don't even know how to explain it. There was something in me where it was like, I just felt hollow. And I will say this one kind of tip, and this is one of the reasons I do the work that I do, is because I had gotten so empty that when I started on my journey to build a business and become a coach, I did it as a way to run away from what I no longer wanted. I didn't have a vision going into it. I literally, a friend of mine that I had connected with through a network marketing company that I was kind of dabbling with on the side, she's like, oh, you should be a life coach. And I was like, okay. Like I just went for it. I had no vision of what I wanted it to look like, what that meant. I had no business experience, none of that. And so I just had gotten so empty. It was all about running away. And so one of the things that I love working on with my clients is that first step of really getting a clear vision of what you want instead, so that you have somewhere you're moving to, so that your decisions are informed, right? Otherwise, it becomes throwing spaghetti at the wall. But when you have that vision, then it helps you to start making those aligned choices along the way. Like, okay, this is my vision, and now I have this decision to make. And is that aligned with what this vision is over here? I didn't have that when I started. And so that's like, if you ever coach with me, that's step number one that we go through. We have to get that clear vision.
Yeah, I think it's so important to know where it is you're going. And, like visit where you've come from. What are the lessons?
Yep.
What are the things that you want to change? Why do you feel, like you said, hollow inside? How do you fill your cup, right? How do we start pouring into you, since you've been pouring into so many of these narratives of being fine, that this is how I'm supposed to do, I'm supposed to show up for the PTAs. I'm supposed to be the person who hosts everything, or I'm supposed to be if you're a professional, I'm supposed to be the one who runs the meetings because my team's doing so well, right? That whole balance, right? And so I think what you said too is so important, to have a vision, like have something that you want, but then it's also, we got the vision, but how do you get there, right? It's great to do these vision boards, and I do vision purses. It's great to put all these together and put them on the board or put them on the purse, whatever that is for you. But how do you pull it? I like to say, touch it off the board. Like when you do it, pull it off the board, pull it off the purse, and you can feel it that you've accomplished it, right? Don't just see and go, oh yeah, I did that. No, pull it off because you've achieved it. So it's no longer needs to be on your board, right? And so I like what you said too, which is a lot what I love to coach on, is the setting the boundaries and saying no. My story was, I said yes to everything. You want me to help with that event? Yes. You want me to go do that? Yes. My kids, my family, I said yes to everybody but me. And so when it hit that wall of saying, what do I want? Like, I was the top 5 mortgage broker at my company I worked with in Virginia. I was a number 1 female. I loved doing that, but I wasn't doing that anymore. What is it I want? I took, my kids, we moved here to Florida so I could be the quote unquote mom that's always home when they got home, whether I wanted to work or not, but I was going to be the mom who'd be home when they got home after school. I could go work, so I didn't have to be a stay-at-home mom. But if I wanted to, great. And a stay-at-home mom is still a business. You're still running. I tell my stay-at-home moms I'm coaching, I'm like, you're running a business at home. You need to share with the family. These are our jobs we do. And here's the job details and job description of what your roles are. Right. And so I had learning to say no as part of that. And I had to really take a big step to do that. So what I ended up doing is I got pebbles, and I put a pebble in my pocket. And if somebody asked me, so if you came, Karsta, and asked me to do something, I would say, okay, is it aligned in my head? I have a checklist. Does it align with what my vision is for this year? Right. And if it doesn't, then Karsta, I would love to help you. And right now it's not the perfect time for me. So I have to say no. And in September, when I usually do my goals and my vision. So in September, if it's something you're going to do next year, how about you put me on your calendar to call me end of August, and let's recircle around and see if I can help you with it next year. So I have told you no, but I've told you no excitedly. And I didn't tell you why. And if it's something I wanted to do, I asked you to call me next year, right? But if it's something I really don't want to do, I just say, Karsta, it sounds like a great thing. And right now it's just not a good fit for me. Right? We say yes so excitedly to things we want to do, but then we go, no, well, I don't want to do it because and others, and I feel bad I can't do it. Right. No, say it as excitedly as you want to. Because the bottom line, what happens too is you say yes to things you want to, and when you say no to things you don't want to, guess what? Karsta may be waiting for that opportunity to come over. And if I said yes, even though I didn't want to, the next person can't say yes who's been waiting to say yes. Right?
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. So it's really powerful. It took me a while. Yeah. It took me a little bit to get there. I had to really do the pebble. So when I took that pebble out, and I literally, if you asked me, I reached in my pocket and was holding that pebble going, is it really a yes or no? And I've got now where I say no, not only things to do, but people. Right.
Well, and I love what you said too. You don't owe them an explanation. No is a complete sentence, right? And I love that you said that. Just resonates so hard because I think especially as women, right? I can't, I'm too busy and I have to do this with the kids, and we hem and haw about it. And I love that, be excited about your no, because here's what it also does. I love that what you said, it opens up the opportunity for somebody who does want it. And if you're excited about the no, it shows confidence on your part, and it gives that person permission, if they need it, to then say no later to something else. They see you do it and they're like, ooh, Pearl said no. And I wasn't even mad at her about saying no. So I'm going to say no to this person. You know what I mean? It becomes this trickle down thing. So I love that.
It really does. It's so powerful. And once you learn to say no, then you are really setting your boundaries. And like I like to say, then you're shackling your boundaries, and you'll only open a link if it's the right fit for you, right?
Yes.
That link stays there until it's the right fit for you. So it's so powerful.
Absolutely.
So tell me, I'm interested to know. So I come to coach with you. What are some of the things that we walk through? Like, what are some of the areas you walk through? What's some of the first steps I do when I join you for coaching?
Oh, great question. So like I said, the first thing we do is we're going to do some clarity work and just what's your vision, where are we headed? Then I walk through, we work on gratitude, because I think that that's really important in terms of a lot of us get stuck in feeling bad because we don't have what we want. We need to be grateful for what we have before we can have more. So we do some work with gratitude. I am not trauma certified in any way, shape, or form, but I love at least helping you walk through as stories come up. Like, why do you think that that's your story, and how can we move? I'm all about moving past it, not to ignore it, not to pretend it didn't happen. It did happen, but what can we do moving forward? And then kind of that personal accountability piece. Like, you have, like I said, I was running from something. I didn't have the vision, and I had nothing to hold me accountable for it. I just sort of sat back and went, okay, well, let's do that. And I literally just had like a absolute brain fart.
So let me ask you this while you gather this.
Yes.
So
you asked while I'm thinking, it's there.
I know it's there. So let's talk about, like, what are some of the tools that you use to keep somebody accountable? Because accountability can be, really hard. It's like, oh, you know what, Pearl, I don't want you, like, I've got a client right now. She's enjoying, and she's listening to this. She'll know who I'm talking about. She's enjoying all this. I'm all about create your self-care and those boundaries, right? And you can do great things for your self-care, but you also can create so much self-care as you forget the other things that really your vision, right? So you can go, and I'm going to go for my weekend here. I'm going to go do this with my husband. I'm going to take a staycation here. That's great to do all that. But if you're not working on your goals and your visions and being accountable to that, then all this is going to fall apart, because at some point you got to come back to the center and be like, what is it that I want to accomplish while I balance my self-care, right? So what's some of the accountability tools that you do? And so let me ask you this. So I can be a tough coach. If you tell me you want to accomplish something and I'm working with you and you're not doing it, I can be like, all right, Karsta, this is what you told me. So I can push you for this, but if you no longer want to do this, you need to tell me so we can figure out what you're really working on.
Right. And I'm very much the same way. Like, that's what you said you want to do. If that's not what you want to do, we're going to shift now. Right. But in terms of accountability, so I kind of have 3 steps to what I use for accountability. So the first is I mean, obviously I have like goals and like very concrete objectives and things like that. But on the day-to-day, to encourage myself to show up, I set kind of an intention for how I want to show up in the world. Where do I need to spend? Because I told you, like, the life I had sucked my energy. So for me, it's really important in my relationship with myself to manage my energy. So where do I need to put my energy today? And it's kind of an umbrella kind of thing. So it might be, oh, you know what? Today's umbrella, my intention is to nurture myself. And that doesn't mean I spend the whole day doing self-care. It just means that I am mindful as I go through my day and in my interactions with people to mind my energy. Some days my intention might be to show up as a badass CEO, right? Like, we just came off our CEO retreat. That's my goal for the day. So then where do I need to spend my energy? So I set that umbrella of an intention. And then underneath that, aside from maybe my to-do list, I create sort of a list of, I don't want to call them tasks, because it's not like checklist in mind. It's okay. If I need to nurture myself today, if that's my intention, what do I need to do to nurture myself today? So I know, like, I'll think this in my head. I'll be like, okay, I know that I have this meeting and this call with this client, and I am working at my part-time job. So these are all the tasks I have to do. How am I nurturing my energy through that? Okay, it's making sure that I do my morning journaling. It's making sure that when I get home at night, I'm doing a meditation. It's making sure that I'm doing some self-care while I'm taking my shower, something like that. What do I need to do? It's creating I call it my energy bubble when I'm having interactions with people. So I set this list of, this is my intention. Here's how I can show up. And this has been kind of a new addition to my ritual, and I love it. And I've shared it with a couple of clients and they love it. So at the end of the night, instead of like when I have a journal that I use, but whether I write it down or I do it mentally, I go through and list everything I did that day where I showed up for myself as I said I wanted to. So like an accomplishment list, sort of. Or even if it's something that wasn't related to my objective for the day, it's like, okay, I went to the grocery store even though I didn't feel like it. I made that phone call to that person that I didn't really feel like talking to, whatever it was. And I go to bed, celebrate. It's like showing gratitude to myself, kind of in that vein of having that relationship with yourself. I go to bed celebrating all the things that I accomplished that day, because I've actually started to sleep better because of it, because I don't wake up stewing about, oh my God, I didn't do that. Oh my God, I didn't do that. I didn't do that. And it motivates me to get up the next day and do it all over again.
I love that. I love that, that reminder of the things you did for yourself. Because sometimes we'll go to bed thinking, oh my gosh, I didn't get that done and get that done and get that done. But guess what? Look how much I really got done. That stuff's going to be there. Right. It's just so powerful. And it's really important. And, this past weekend, I love what you said too about doing for yourself this past weekend. So I'm in a product broker company, and we have amazing vitamins that we share, which is just one part of the company. That's the part that I concentrate on, but there's different assets of the company, and it's called Market America. And we had amazing, his name is Dennis Franks. He was in charge of our health and wellness line, which is not just a vitamin line, but a better way of eating program that we offer. So it's a whole food, real food. It's called TLS. It's a whole food, real food eating program. And Dennis led that up for us. And he has been with the company for 30 years. And energy, he was an ex Philadelphia Eagles player, an author, motivational speaker. And he was one of those people that wanted you to succeed. And if you said you're going to do something, he told you it was already done, right? And he was just, the man had so much energy. It was just so powerful. I just loved him to death. Well, we lost him last month, and very suddenly, unexpectedly. And he had his service was on Sunday, and we got to watch it, on Zoom. It's so crazy, all these new things that come out. I know. Everything on Zoom. So we got the blessing was we got to be there at the service, even though we couldn't be in North Carolina. And one thing that everybody resonated with and all shared when they were talking about Dennis was that he lived his life. He lived that dash. He lived for every day, every moment. And he would tell you, you want it, it's done. You just got to go get it. You want it, it's done, go do this work. Don't sit around and mope and cry. I don't have it. Put your energy into it and it's yours, right? And it was just so powerful to see. And what you just said there too is going up, and he was one that would say, be grateful for the things you have accomplished today, right? What did you do today? And what you just said is so powerful, because we wake up at night going, oh, all this stress, I didn't get this done. But if you can go to bed, tell yourself all the great things you got done for the day for yourself, then you know what? You're going to go to bed and you're going to have some really great rest. And I love that you said that. I think that's really, really powerful. So thank you for that reminder for all of us. Absolutely. So I'm going to take you back personally. We talked about, the energy, you've come through, you've realized you got to make a change in your life, right? So you start to make the change. Tell us, do you have kids, Karsta?
I do have kids. I have two daughters. I have one who is 20 and one who is 17.
I have 20. I have two boys, 24 and almost 22.
Okay, yep. And I have been a single mom for most of their life. So it's really just been the three of us for about 15 plus years. So
when you went to go and decide, I need to, fill me up, I need to fill my cup, I need to align with my energy. How hard was that to do it as a single mom?
I mean, there are challenges, 100%. Like, especially any of you listening who are starting a business, like financially, it's been a challenge at times, right? I don't have the same job that I had before. We did end up downsizing into a small apartment, which I actually love, by the way. I love my small space. There's certain things that have been difficult about it, but I will say this. Early in my journey, my oldest and I were sitting down, and I don't remember how the conversation got started or what exactly we were talking about, but her words to me were, Mom, I love that I can watch you do this and learn this and grow now so that I don't have to do it when I'm your age. I can do it now with you. And that was so powerful to me. And I'm going to get all teary thinking about it.
I was just going to say that is so powerful because
right.
You're the example for them.
Right. And just the other day she called and she needed some help with some insurance, something or other. And I said, honey, she was talking about something she wanted to do. And like a couple of her friends' parents were helping them financially with that. And I was like, I said, I'm really sorry that I can't help you financially with it. She goes, I don't want you to. She goes, their parents can help them because they're in jobs they hate. I love that I can call you at 9 o'clock in the morning and get your guidance on it.
How powerful is that?
Right. And so yes, there have definitely been challenges. Yes, there have been sacrifices. And yes, there are probably pieces to the puzzle, like different things that have been challenging for me as a mom that weren't challenging. It's a trade-off. But what I tell, especially the women I work with, I tell them like, there's, like I said earlier, there's that balance of energy, right? Like everything's going to cost you something. So what's it giving you in return? And the fact that, and like you said, you want to be home for your kids. The fact that I can get up in the morning and help my daughter get ready for school in the morning. I mean, she's a senior, she doesn't need help, but I can make the lunch for her. This morning I went out and started the car for her. The fact that I can be here to do that. The fact that my oldest can call me at 9 o'clock on a random Tuesday morning to get adulting advice. Like that's my trade-off. That's where I get my energy. And there's that equal exchange, and I wouldn't trade it for the world.
So awesome. And I always say, single moms, raising children at home, and then even those that are caregivers, right? Taking care of care.
Mm-hmm.
My grandfather used to say, and I take the phrase from my grandfather, rest his soul. He used to say, there's a place in heaven for that, because to balance all of that out and to still take care of yourself and find that energy for you, it's hard work. It's hard work.
It is. But I will say this, if you have anybody listening who is a single mom, it's a badge of honor that I wore for a long time. That, because a lot of people have told me that over the years, and I'm very grateful. So, thank you for saying that. But it's also not your only identity. And it also doesn't need to be the thing that keeps you stuck. Because I got to a point where people telling me things like that started to feed my ego. Like I've got specific people in mind who would always say stuff like that. Like, oh, I can't believe what you're doing. And that's so incredible. Thank you. What I started to do though, was then decisions I made subconsciously were to continue that narrative. And that's where this whole idea of the narratives that are keeping us stuck, right? I had told myself subconsciously, well, if I let myself succeed and be successful, then am I really strong anymore? Is it really, I don't have that struggle to wear as a badge of honor for people to acknowledge. And I had to let that go.
Yeah. And that's so, yeah, that when people, you're right. Because when you start hearing those things and you're like, oh yeah. And then then it becomes a different identity for you. Right. And you're still losing your energy. Like you were saying, you're still losing that balance because you're putting yourself over here. I love that. I love that your daughters have recognized that, because I think that's really powerful, because I was sharing with somebody the other day. So our big thing that's coming in January that we're going to have a big press release on. So I'm not going to release it right now. So if you're listening, keep listening. But one of the things we're going to do is, I feel like, and the reason why we've created this next step that we're putting into Women's Successful Living and Conversations with Pearl, is that I feel like what's happened somewhat with the pandemic is that, especially, let's just start with couples, whether you're married or not, your significant other and you kind of had to look at your family and go, you know what? This family member makes this job is more steady, makes the income that we need. So I need to pull back on my job, or I need to quit my job because some jobs weren't accepting that you had to change hours.
Right.
And I need to be the teacher at home. And even though, great teachers, virtual teaching, all that, you're still, I watched my brother talk about how he was doing kindergarten between his job because of some other health issues that my sister-in-law has. But, he was trying to balance all that. And I was sitting here going, I feel like we've kind of done a little bit backwards. And, I'm not a big Me Too movement. That's not who I am. I want everybody to have balance and, the right energy in their life and do the things that they want to do. But I feel like in some cases, we saw a lot of the males in the marriages and the relationships they stepped up because that job in the world, we still have some of that where the man is the money maker. So the wife or significant other female had to take a step back and be like, okay, I'll be the teacher. I'll take care of the house and do all that stuff. Right. And I feel like with some of the things we have happening in the world, they haven't been able to quite get back to where they want it to be. So they basically took their dream and vision and put it on the shelf, because that's what they need to do to survive the last year and a half. So I feel like we need to bring that back in balance. We need to bring that energy back and let these women, or whether they're men, in some cases, the man had to take the step back, right? Whoever that was, start saying, you know what, your vision and dream matters to me and your energy matters to me. So let's have conversations on how we can bring you back in balance. How can we, post-pandemic or whatever we want to call it, get you back on the path that you were on before this craziness started and get you to the goals and dreams you want, right?
Right.
So that's one of the reasons why we're getting ready to launch this great thing, because we want to have conversations. We want to go across the country and be like, how can we help you? How can we support you, right? Go ahead.
No, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I love that. I want to I don't even want to call it a wrench. I'm on a recent new mission to replace the word balance with harmony.
Ooh, I love that. Balance
because
harmony.
For me, balance means equal. And I this is a perfect example. People always talk about work-life balance, right? And I say, okay, so you're saying you want to give equal energy to your job that you do to your family. And they go, no, I don't know. That's not okay. You want harmony. You want them to play together appropriately, whatever that is, right? There might be times when your job has to have more of you than your family, right? But there's harmony. It's not equal. And I always equate it to like in a symphony, right? All the instruments don't play at the same volume all the time. They play at different levels so that there's harmony. So that's just my little mini mission.
No, I love that harmony. Yeah, because you're right. Because the balance, you're right. Sometimes, like next month, I'm going to be traveling a lot in December. So family is going to be down here. So the scales are going to be a little different. So I love that's a great point. So everybody's listening. We're not about balance. We're about having harmony in our lives. So, harmony. So, this has been so much fun. I love having you on. So share with everybody how they can find you, where they get to you if they want to talk to you, share all your social media, and tell us anything you have upcoming.
Yes. Okay. So Instagram is probably the easiest place to find me. I do have a website, karstamarie.com. They can go creep on me there if they want to. I am also on Facebook, and I have a free Facebook community where I share kind of all the little nuggets and that kind of stuff that you kind of get insider tips there first. They can also get on my email list, but Instagram is the easiest place to find me first, kind of a first line of action. And then upcoming, I've got some coaching things in the works, but I do have just fresh off the press this morning, I have a really low cost 2-hour vision board workshop that I'm going to be hosting on December 1st over Zoom. It's $25 for the 2 hours. And if they want more information on that, they can certainly shoot me a message. That's not even on my website yet. So they'll have to message me for info on that. So that's probably the most exciting thing right now.
Awesome. I love it. Hot off the presses. That's really cool. And vision, this is the time of the year to really think about your goals, because I really believe 2022 is all about you. So let's get us going and, and get that started. So
well, that's what I said in my post earlier today. I said like 2020 was kind of a dumpster fire. 2021 felt a little bit like the hangover afterwards. So like 2022 is like, let's go crush it now.
I love that. That is so cool. Well, I've been excited to have you on, and I shared with you before we hopped on that we have this great thing that we do.
I'm nervous about this more than any of it.
Really? Oh my gosh, this is so exciting. So those listeners that have been regular listeners, near the end of the show, before we let our guests get off the mic, we do what the Better Questions, Better Life, which is, these are our cards. I don't create them. My good friend Carol Gill does. I get nothing back. So if you go buy them, I get no kickback. These are cards that I use with my clients, and but they're called Better Questions, Better Life. And they're just meant to be questions. You pull a card every day. You can meditate over it. You can journal on it. You can take it with you. It's just meant to give you some deep thoughts for your day.
Yeah,
right?
I love that.
Oh, and really do some thinking. So what we're going to do is I'm going to shuffle the cards, and you're going to tell me when to stop, and then you're going to answer the question. Okay, so here we go.
Okay, stop.
So what is your question? Ooh, this is a good one. How have you surprised yourself?
How have I surprised myself? I think my biggest surprise is that I got brave enough to take action and do something. I think that's been my biggest surprise.
Love that. So what kind of action have you taken that really surprised you?
Ooh, I think in the last 6 months, really actually, working with the coach that you and I are working with, and diving in and becoming a business owner. Because when I told you, when I jumped into this, I was running away, and it's been a long journey, but it's been long because I haven't jumped in like I have the last 6 months as a business owner and like holding myself accountable for business activities. So I think that's been the biggest one. Like, I can do this. I can run a business.
And I think I'm going to answer the question too. I'm kind of the same point you are, is how have I surprised myself? I think the surprise for me was, and for those that are listening, we both are working with Julie DeLuca Collins with Go Confidently Coaching. She's been a big influence for me in the past 6 months as well.
Huge.
And I think, yes. And I think that we both did the CEO retreat with her over the weekend. So I know Julie's listening. So
hi, Julie.
Shout out to Julie. But I think for me, especially the CEO retreat this past weekend, what surprised me was all of the money, the income that I could have earned had I been more focused and more impactful of my decisions that I made, like making sure I impacted the things I wanted to do and to do them so that impacted my business. And so for me, that's been it. So those that are listening, I have created a calendar now. I mean, Monday I got up right away, everything in that retreat. I mean, I have my sheet right here.
All the things, all the things right here, right now.
Yeah. And so very much like holding accountable. And interesting enough is that by doing that, I was actually able to go to an event last night. So talk about doing things for ourselves, right? I was able to go to an event last night and have fun. It was a new network event that I've joined, really powerful. And I don't know if they're where you are. That's called Know Women, KNOW. It's really amazing. So I just joined them and I'm excited. They have a magazine that will be in as well. But I was able to go to that event last night. Tonight I'm going to an event as well because I've made decisions on how to balance it. And then tomorrow, I'm actually able to get on to a training that I've been wanting to do with some friends that we're going to do together. So I think that's how I surprised myself. Definitely.
Yep. Yeah. Just being able to, like, at the end of the day, say, holy crap, I did all these things. Like, look what I did.
Right. Yeah. And then to go to bed at night, I'm going to start that tonight. Go to bed and journal. And that
so powerful.
So powerful. So I just want to thank you so much for coming on. And those that are listening, I mean, Karsta and I both are coaches. We both work with women, but we do things differently. We do things similarly. And the really important thing is that, if you're listening and you feel like you want some help, you want some guidance, just go from the plateau you're at, or just get your energy back, or have harmony in your life. reach out to Karsta, reach out to me. We would love to help you. Not everybody's the right fit for somebody. And that's why I love having coaches that I know, because sometimes I'm not the right fit, but I can go, hey, I know Karsta, she'd make a great fit for you. So if you're listening, please follow us, share our YouTube page. It's Conversations with Pearl. And again, I want to remind all our listeners that, we all come into this world, this beautiful oyster. It's up to us to open it up. And as you open it up, you will find that inner pearl to greatness. So I want to empower all of you to go out and find your inner pearl to greatness. Have a great day.
Hello, sunshine. Good to see you again.